Purple and Yellow Abstract Nail Art Tutorial by Hotpinkzebrapolish.
Hi everyone, in today's video I'm going to be showing you how I did this very easy purple and yellow nail art, and there is some 3D flowers in this. If you don't do 3D, don't sweat it. You can put either plain flowers or you can just leave the nail yellow. So I hope you like this design. It's very striking, and don't forget to click subscribe to see my future videos as well.
Begin by painting your ring nail yellow and the rest of them bright purple. So on my index nail, I'm going to be placing 4 or 5 pieces of striping tape, and it doesn't matter what color, so any color you've got. I'm just going to place them randomly crisscrossing across my nail, and you want to make sure that these are nice and tight down and all the way pressed down all the way to the corner so that you don't get any bleeding. And I know that sometimes bleeding is inevitable and it happens no matter how many precautions you take, so just make sure that it's nice and as secure as it can be. And so just lay those down and make sure that your purple polish underneath is 110% dry, otherwise you're going to probably pull some of that up later on. So then I'm going to be painting the entire nail with white nail polish and making sure I get all the way out to the edges. And then covering that white once it is dried with a layer of bright yellow polish. And then as soon as you put on that yellow, you're going to want to peel off your striping tape. And you want to peel it off hopefully in the same order that you put them on. So try to remember if you can, otherwise it's just you're gonna get stuck and have to see which one is on top. So now with a little bit of black paint on a thin brush, I'm going to be outlining 3 or 4 of my shapes that are left on the yellow. And this is just to add one more little detail to them. You can certainly skip outlining if you are not a fan of outlining. So now I'm going to be working on my middle nail. So I'm going to place a strip of just regular scotch tape on my nail, leaving a very thin section on the side of my nail that is tapeless. And then paint that with white. Once it's dried, paint it with yellow and peel off the tape. And then I'm going to outline that yellow and purple division with a black line. This black line I want to be a little bit thicker. And now I'm going to be creating a chevron, or it's not really a chevron, but V-shaped pattern on the other side, so in the purple section, by creating wide black V-shapes. And when you are using tape on your nails, you want to make sure that the nails are dry, yes, but also if you take, because scotch tape is so sticky, if you press it against the back of your hand just to get a little bit of that oil off through your skin, it's going to make them come off easier off the nail and it works a little bit better. So now in the purple sections that are left, I'm going to create thinner white V's, just a thin line, just for one more little thing there. On my ring nail, I'm going to start by placing 3 black rhinestones down my nail, almost like they remind me of shirt buttons. I don't know why, but in this stage, that's what I think of. And then I'm going to create 3D flowers with acrylic. And so when I do this, I like to grab a bead first of the lighter color that I'm using, so in this case white. So grab the white bead and then dip that into purple acrylic just to create 2-tone petals. And so I like to grab 2 beads and put those down on the opposite sides of the rhinestone and then let them set until they've turned matte. So it's about 10-15 seconds. It depends on what acrylic you're using and how fast it sets. And then I like to press them out. So I like them to set for just, a little bit until they start to turn matte, and then I press them out. Otherwise, if you do it too soon, it's not going to be as easy and they're just going to kind of run back together. But if you wait until they have that really nice consistency that wants to hold the shape, it's going to be so much easier. So then after I've got that middle flower done, I will work on the outside flowers. That's the word that I couldn't think of, the outside flowers. And if your nail is longer than mine, you're going to probably want to use 4 or 5 rhinestones. If your nail is a lot shorter than mine, you're going to want to probably do maybe 1 flower or 2 flowers. You don't want it to look too crowded. You want them to look like they're spaced nice and evenly, and don't want to look too sparse either. And so as you can see, that petal that's going to be near the middle nail is going to be overlapping the other one, and that's fine if they overlap a little bit. And lastly, I am now going to be sculpting the flower near my cuticle. And I am trying my best to place the beads so that the purple section is near the gem and the white is at the outside. That's sometimes easier said than done, but you know, do what you can. On my pinky nail, I'm going to be placing a thin piece of Scotch tape down the center of my nail so that there's about even sections on either side that I will leave for painting with yellow. So place that tape down and then paint it with white first, just like before. And then add your bright yellow over the top. If you try to just paint the yellow on top of the purple polish, it's going to turn brown, so you want to make sure you have that nice white in the middle. And see, that time it didn't, the Scotch tape bled just a little bit. It happens, that's why we outline. So now I'm going to be outlining this section with thin black lines. And then in the purple in the middle, I'm just going to be adding a zigzag. And then outlining the sides of my nail. And then adding a zigzag going in the opposite direction with white through the black. On my thumb, I'm going to be placing 2 pieces of Scotch tape on my nail so that I've got a section that is off center that I will leave that's for the yellow. So you want to make sure you tape off the one side of your nail and then a larger section on the other side, and then fill in the gap with some white. And then fill in the white with yellow. And immediately peel off that tape. Once it is dried, we're going to start doing the black. So I'm going to begin by outlining the yellow area, just like so. And then I'm just going to outline the top of the yellow too. And then in the section, the larger section of purple, I'm going to be painting a large, it's a large but thin chevron pattern, if that makes sense. So I'm going to create by just doing a zigzag through that area and then filling in all of the triangles that that zigzag created with more V-shapes. And then I'm going to be applying a layer of glossy top coat to all of my nails, but I'm not going to be painting this glossy top coat over the top of my 3D flowers. I'm just going to paint around them. Some of it is going to get on top of them just because I want to make sure to get in all those corners, but I'm not trying to paint them, if that makes any sense at all. So then I'm going to be applying matte top coat over all of the yellow areas except for on the ring nail where I just want to put the matte on top of the purple flowers, but avoiding the rhinestones. And on the nails, mostly the hardest one to do this matte top coat on is going to be your index nail. So paint carefully the bigger sections, and then with a little bit of that matte top coat on a piece of foil, you can dip a dotting tool in, and then you can apply it over the smaller triangles with a dotting tool. And that's it. I hope you like this design. Please share any recreations with me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I would love to see them, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!